Hey everybody, my name is Spencer, and in this video I'll be sharing my spoiler-free thoughts on the legacy game My City, designed by Reiner Knizia and published by Thames and Kosmos. I'll tell you who the game is for and help you determine if, ultimately, you should buy it. I've got some really nice things to say, but before I do, would you please subscribe to the channel? Appreciate ya! My City is Garland, Texas, just outside of Dallas. The game My City is a competitive legacy game. If you don't know, legacy games are games where changes are made to the components and rules as you play through a multi-session campaign. So let's start there, the legacy element. It's definitely present here. Your choices and actions in each episode will impact your performance in the future. Do note that because of the way the campaign unfolds, you do need to play this with the same group of people from the very start. You will write on boards, throw away components, change the rules, and uncover new story elements as you play through a 24-episode campaign. I put story in quotation marks because there really isn't much happening here other than some flavor explaining why the rule changes are happening. It explains each step of the way as you begin with the development of a city in its early pre-industrial stages and progress through industrialization. So if you're looking for an immersive experience like Pandemic Legacy or Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated, you need to look elsewhere. For comparison, it's probably closer to something like Machikoro Legacy. But honestly, in this game, story is not really necessary. I think it would get in the way of the gameplay. And let's talk about that gameplay. I think it's simple and elegant, with lots of tricky decisions to make. Something you'd expect from the good doctor, Knizia. All players begin with their own blank city board. There are buildings shaped similar to Tetris pieces, categorized by color. A deck of cards contains a corresponding card for each building. Now the first game is very simple. One player flips over the top card of the deck to reveal a unique building. Everyone, in bingo fashion, will simultaneously place the building on their board in whichever orientation they like. Now don't worry, introverts, you don't have to shout anything when this happens. I suppose you could if you wanted to. Here's the next card. Pickles! The only placement restriction, at least in the first game, is that the building that you place must have at least one side touching the side of this river. However, you cannot build over the river. If you can't place the building because it doesn't fit anywhere, you either must pass and lose a point, or drop out of the episode altogether. Which sometimes can be a very difficult decision to make, and I love that. You'll earn points for covering up spaces on the board while leaving trees uncovered. You lose points if you leave green spaces and rocks uncovered, you monster. Whoever has the most points at the end of the episode wins. Of course, each episode will add interesting rules and placement restrictions, as well as more ways to earn points. Now these are all explained thematically as you and your opponents advance through the ages. I mentioned earlier that the game consists of 24 episodes. While that sounds like it might take you months to get through, it really won't. The games are broken down into 8 chapters of 3 episodes each. For me and my wife, we found that each episode on average takes 30 minutes to play through. And since everyone plays simultaneously, I don't think adding a player or two will extend the length by much, if at all. So basically, you can expect to spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours on each chapter. We played it a chapter at a time, so when all was said and done, technically we had played about 8 game sessions, which I would say is reasonable for a family or casual game group to play through. Now that's not to say this is too simple for experienced gamers. While the rules are easy to understand and the game isn't heavy, I really do believe that all gamers can find something to enjoy about the game. For me, it was the puzzle of how to efficiently and effectively place each piece. Again, it's hard to elaborate on this because I don't want to spoil anything, but if you like spatial reasoning games like Patchwork or Cottage Garden, you'll love this. Now, many people will raise the concern of, sure, it might be fun to play through it, but once it's finished, I can't play through it again. Well, like putting mayonnaise on pizza, that's just wrong, because on the back of the player boards, there's an alternate setup for repeatable play. However, it's not recommended to do so until you've made it to the first 4 chapters, because it will use some of the secret legacy components. Well, that's about as far as I go without getting into spoiler territory. I don't really have anything negative to say. On a personal note, I don't really get excited about building a city. This theme doesn't do much for me. In fact, I initially only wanted to play it for its legacy element. But I'm glad I did, because although the theme didn't excite me, the gameplay more than made up for it. So who's it for? Everybody. Even kids from about 8 and up should have no problem picking up the rules. And for a suggested retail price of $35, you are more than getting your money's worth here because of the amount of content and time you'll spend playing the game. That's all from me on My City, unless you want me to go on and talk a little bit about My City Garland. No? Okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about My City, or Garland, or anything I said in this video, just add them in the comments below and I'll respond ASAP. Also, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you do, I promise I won't mention the city Garland again. Until next time, don't take the board game hobby too seriously. just lighten up.